Hello, hello. Welcome to CityClips Live. For those of you who are not familiar, it's all about North Florida business and tech, and I'm excited to feature a fellow Domi board member, Eric Thomas. I'm going to give him a short bio before we dive into his story, and then, of course, we'll have a fun conversation about all things creative and growing a design studio in Tallahassee. So Eric Thomas is the co-founder and creative director of UnderStory, a brand and digital design studio based in Tallahassee, Florida. With over 18 years of experience in leading design and creative direction, Thomas has a background in bridging traditional and digital creative teams. Before founding UnderStory in 2016, he worked with advertising agencies, award-winning agencies in Tallahassee, and at UnderStory, Thomas focuses on creating dynamic brand experiences that integrate art, technology, and commerce. His expertise spans brand identity, UI, UX design, web development, and more, with a passion for connecting people through creative media arts. How's that?
Yes, very nice, impressive.
That's 4 for 4 with perplexity. I've been using that for short bios. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about, and I know you've been on before for my JHC and Friends series, but for those who are new, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started with UnderStory and why you started?
Yeah. So I'm the rare story arc where I'm not from Tallahassee. I did not go to Florida State. I moved to Tallahassee in 2002. And my connection here was actually through a friend in college who was from Tallahassee and worked at an ad agency in town, Zimmerman Agency. So a lot of people know Zimmerman in town. And when I graduated from Georgia, University of Georgia, I moved to Atlanta and lived there briefly and was going to move to Austin, Texas, and then decided to move to Tallahassee because I was offered a job. And I was like, I was going to move blindly to Austin, or I was offered a job here. And with my friend and I was like, hey, I'll move to Tallahassee and work there for a year and then I'll move. And then Tallahassee got its claws in me and met my now wife, and ended up being at Zimmerman for 12 years, which is, pretty rare. And they treated me well. It was great. I enjoyed my time there. And then I just always had an itch to kind of do my own thing. It's something that's common a lot with creatives. And it just took me a few years to finally just get the courage up to make the jump. And then and so my background's more in the digital world. I've been doing websites and web design back when, what are websites? I was doing stuff, work for bands in Athens, and my roommate, the guy I knew, was an artist and a designer, so I kind of had that connection in the community. My other roommate was in a band in Athens, so I kind of had this artistic and creative friends already in that network, and it just kind of grew from there. And I learned a lot, and then I like the brand side as well. So I was kind of an interesting mix where I'm not just a pure technology person. I understand brand too. And I wanted to really start a business that focused on that. And at the time, that was still not new, but it was budding to where, web was a lot of times secondary, or digital was secondary thoughts of things. It was more like, coming up with advertising tended to be, print led or other means, and digital was a value add for a while. And then, over time, obviously digital's become huge. And so that around that time is when I wanted to leave and focus more on that. And that's why I started UnderStory. So we focus a little bit more on that brand centric. We can bring in a brand minded approach, but we're also tech based. So we can lead, sometimes brands stronger than tech, sometimes tech stronger than brand, but we believe in always making sure that we combine those. And so we're coming up on 10 years, which is crazy. 2025 this year is our 10th anniversary. And so we're in the middle of trying to get our own website launched. It's always cobbler's children have no shoes. It's been in the works for a while, so that'll be coming soon, which is exciting. And
you want me to show the current one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Still
the current
one's
great. It's part of it is that it's worked fine for us. I know we've been the typical, need to update our work. It's like, yes, we haven't updated a whole lot on there in a while, or anyone on our team to be like, we need to get some more work up. We've done more work, I promise you. That's part of what we're doing with the new site, of making it a lot easier to say, like, here's our, we designed a new logo, we launched a small site, big sites, like all the stuff we do to get a little bit more sharing that out there, and so so that's coming soon. So it's exciting. So we got a lot to unfold on that, and that'll be good. So
let us know. Like what, and we're happy to reshare it once it's up, and just, we as in City Clips, of course. But yeah, no, that's really exciting. And that, the joke in our industry is, if the website looks too good, that's not a good sign, because that means they don't have clients to worry about.
Well, you
You
make it look
look
good.
for your
We definitely
clients.
do a lot of that. Right. But it's not, it's just funny. I make sure we keep it updated. That's the hard
Yeah.
part. That's what we tell all
Yeah.
of our clients, Susan. Everybody
Yeah.
likes the websites or wants it. It's just the content's the hard part. It's the
Yeah.
part to make sure
Keeping it
you
up.
keep it up to date and keep it fresh. And yeah, so but part of that's us just uncovering that it's just let's make it easier to update. So because we get so busy that it's like, oh, we'll do that later. You just don't get around to it. So that's part of
I
our goals with this new site. So yes.
No, that's great. And you've won awards. Really awesome. And it's not the easiest to grow a creative studio in Tallahassee, I would say, especially brand focused, because there's not too many businesses in the market that want to invest in their brand. So then you probably have had some success outside of the Tallahassee market.
Yeah, a mix of both. I mean, I would say we have a. It's weird, I tell people business is weird. I believe in just treating people right, and I've always tried to do that throughout my whole career. And so we get a lot of work. We get a lot of work from people I worked with in my agency time, of people who just remember me, and they go out and do their own things and work for companies or lead marketing departments internally, and they reach out to me for help on web or brand. And so we get a lot of business through that. So yeah, that isn't always in Tallahassee, but I kind of still consider it because a lot of those connections I made when everyone did live here. And then also with other local, we partner with other local agencies, and so we work directly with clients, we work with agencies. I've always had that approach of just treating people right, and things end up being fine. So yeah, so we have clients across the country. We even had a few international clients throughout the time. Just I never know how it happens. That's what's exciting about what we do. It's like 1 minute working on one thing, I don't know what's going to come next, and that's what attracts me to doing what we do.
That's great. So would you say, obviously, customer experience has been a big factor in your growth? And then I think you really focus on great product, and service.
Yeah, I think as soon as you lose, I mean, you always have to worry about your new business side, of course, or like having work coming in. But I just feel like as soon as you lose sight on your product, on what you do, then that's a problem. Like to me, the most we've done is just word of mouth. And I think if you treat people right, do good work, that helps sell itself. And that's kind of what we try to focus on, is make sure we keep doing that, and just try my best to make sure that we all all keep delivering, and make people happy, and just work with good people, and strive to just keep doing good things.
It's really relationship building too, because obviously word of mouth is the most affordable way of getting new business. And it surprises me when some businesses neglect great customer experience and user experience.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like that's why you've been able to survive 10 years in the making. So and yeah, like, so you're getting referrals, you have great partnerships.
Mhm.
And then also, and we met mutually through, I think, Creative Friends, really. And Domi.
Probably.
I think it must have been
Yeah.
through Domi.
I
Um,
think so, and that's part of too that I believe in is the sense of community, and I think that's something that I've always tried to be a part of, either within in company, in my time at agencies. The within the company itself had communities, and so between that and the outside with Domi, that's I know we're leading into the being why I'm on the Domi board now, is just from the back when I was starting UnderStory. One of our employees is I met at Domi, and is still works for us. And a lot of the people who are still involved with Domi, I know all of them, and so I've always been a believer in that. And I think that's important, and cultivating that, and getting a sense of community is important. And that's not something that you just magic wand. It's just over time that you build. And so yeah, between that and our local creative community, I've always tried to be involved with that. And Tallahassee, we have a creative collective. Tallahassee which is a local group that we do common meetups, and monthly meetups, and a lot of people that work all across different areas. It's meant to be open to anyone creative. And I've always been appreciative that we've had a strong community my whole time I've been here, and it's just grown, and it keeps getting better. I mean, every time we have meetings, there's new people, and it's great.
it's really true. I mean, and I would say you're one of the main people. If you want to find a creative person, get with Eric. Like,
Or
and
come
then
to our meetings. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there are people that I meet that are creative, have some background in creativity and photography or just some element of it. And they still haven't heard of Creative Collective. So I'll tell them about y'all, so I'll say, oh, they meet up all the time. They have a great collective, literally, of creative people and really comprised of full-time remote workers, sometimes designers, video folks. Really, it's a good mix, literally,
Writers,
of
photographers,
people.
video,
Writers,
anyone,
awesome.
really just not even just general. If you just have a creative spirit, that's really all that matters. We don't really, care
Yeah.
about, it runs. And of course, there's a lot of designers. That's what a lot of backgrounds are. But there's people, there's podcasters. There's like, it doesn't matter. It's just mostly, I feel like I've always felt like creatives tend to be like the misfits, island of the misfits, whatever it is. Just there's just a connection that I feel like when you are creative and you meet others, there's an unsaid bond or something that's there, and I think that's part of what I think attracts everyone that comes to these, and I've always appreciated that, and I think it's important to have.
Yeah, and speaking of creatives, like during the original, I would say OGs, Domi OGs, some of the earlier members like Jacob Waits, really talented folks came through and really supported Domi in the initial kickoff and launch too in the first few years. And that's what made Domi really cool. And so we're hoping to bring that energy back after the COVID era. And it's exciting. We should share about the event that y'all have planned.
Yeah, April 16th coming up. We have a talk, and we're actually hosting it at Domi. It's Jeremy Spink's giving us $100,000 logos and how to make them. So it'll be an exciting talk. It's a great title.
Yes.
Attractive title. So we're hoping to see a lot of people come out. We're starting to get that shared out there now, so people are aware. But we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun talk, and we're planning on starting these. So the thought process on these, and we have monthly mixers too. And I thank you for sharing that. We actually have a next one coming up on this Friday at Ology Northside. Yeah, we tend to go around to local restaurants or try to go to places that have food and drink. I know everybody drinks, and so at least I have some food there. But just places where these are more just socials. It's really just where we get together. And we do these the first Friday of every month. So this next one's at Ology Northside, and then we bounce around different places in town. But yeah, so the talk we have coming up, we're hoping to start as a new, just because COVID was was tough, and so we're just trying to get better at getting more in person. That's besides just our social mixer. So the premise of this talk is more like behind the scenes, or like I remember when MTV was about music and they had behind the music. They had this show where it was like it's just artists, but it was also what it takes to make talent like that. That's kind of the premise that we're trying to start on these. A lot of times you just see the end result. You see the work, then sometimes it's public and it gets attacked, sometimes it's celebrated, whatever it is, but you don't know what all went behind that to get that done. And so this is a talk that's really about that, and we're hoping to do some other ones in the future to kind of share that, so that it's like you see it and you don't really know. So especially with younger designers or people coming up, sometimes you get enamored with you don't know what goes on. And so I think that's kind of what we're hoping to have with this, is to start some discussion around that there's, creative work is, I've always called it the gauntlet. You have an idea, depending on what area you're in, that first idea that you have to go through to get approvals, depending on where you are. If you're working one-to-one with a client, it's not too bad. But when you get into situations where there's a board, or there's working with the state or different areas where a lot of people have feedback or approval, to get whatever you get, that baby that you made that you love, to kind of get through and present, like it takes some skills that you kind of learn over time. And so that's kind of what we're kind of having to hope to have some talks that are covering that, is having people who can kind of give some background on different areas, because it depends on the work that you're doing, but everything typically has a client involved or has something involved. So that should be a good talk.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a fun industry, but the part that's really challenging that we have to go through is, you want the client to be happy, what will look great for them. So you have to kind of help coach them and consult them on what is going to work. But yeah, I
keeping
can't
the
imagine
integrity of the work. That's the other part. It's
Exactly.
not just yes client, yes client. You have places that have that. It's like there's integrity of the work that you have to protect, and so that's interesting. Because sometimes when you're the one that does the work, it's a little different because you know more of it. Depending on sometimes if you're not the one who does the work, when you get to the true person where it's like you didn't design it, someone on your team, or depending on if you're in a company or like in ours, it's one of our designers does a logo and we're presenting it, or I'm the one in it, or they're not there. It's like you kind of have to learn how to get through that and know where to bend, because you can't come in there and be like, no, we're geniuses, we're not listening to you, client. Like you can't be like that, but at the same time, there's certain things that you just kind of have to be like, the artful way to say no. There's some
Yes.
ways around that, and so and that's never the same because it depends on the client, depends on the situation, and so that's those are things that you only learn by doing. But that's always been a
Exactly.
fascinating part of the process that I think can get kind of glazed over. That's not just always making something look great or putting on, which is fun. I love that, but there's definitely that level of how do you get it to the end spot. And the best is when you have clients who actually give you great feedback
Full
about what you
trust.
want, when they push you. Those are the best
Yeah.
ones, where it's like maybe you don't want to hear what they have to say, but when they're right, or you end up somewhere better than you were, then you're like, okay, like it can be. A lot of times people think there's this like, oh, client, difficult client, and they're like, which there can be difficult. Don't get me wrong, but as long as you end up in a better spot, that's what I always say. Any calls we have or anything where we get feedback, like as long as we have clarity, that's what matters. And so that's what that's always the good part, is like if we end up in a better spot than we were before, then it's all good. Like it's nothing makes me angrier than bad work. That's the main thing. I don't like bad work. Like
Yeah, no, yeah, seriously. And branding is such a rare skill set, especially where we are. So what, and then you were comfortable with talking about AI because,
sure,
we've seen all kinds of tools come
controversial
out
topic.
now.
Yeah,
And then people saying, oh, seriously, I have people contacting me and say, hey, Julia, we experimented with ChatGPT. What do you think about this logo? They still need my advice. They still need a way to vectorize the file and all of that, and so at least to my knowledge, that's the case. But what is, your
it's
take on
reality.
it?
I mean, it's obviously the biggest shift. I've been doing this for years. Like I said, it's the biggest shift that I can remember since that probably that first shift of social media came around. It became the web before social was a different beast, and social media revolutionized that. And so to me, it's another way that's like that. And I think it's I'm not an AI bro by any means, but I'm also not anti and like cursing it and saying this is the end of civilization as we know it. It's significant. I think it definitely has a lot of things with it. I do think it's going to shift things. It's not. We're using it. I mean, you got to use it. I mean, I don't. I can tell you, we don't use it as here's a logo design that we just created an AI, or here's a whole website that we just did using AI on it. But we use it for research. We use it. We have used it for uh, branding assets. Like it's impressive. There's things you can't deny. There's certain things that does that are incredible. Where it bothers me is things when like it's just the arms race right now, or it's everyone's trying to come up with new updates. Who's going to be the AI when something updates? Like just recently with all the everything's like the Ghibli stuff and the Muppet. It's
Yeah,
just like I hate that when I'm like I just hate the homogenous,
I
the way that
know.
things have made all creative become this homogenous. You know, it's like life finds a way, to me. That's like there's when everything
Hmm.
starts becoming bland, then it's just like
Hmm.
the market comes down, then it will make more value to the ones who do unique work. I do think it's for your entry level work, I think it's great. You're lower end, I do worry a little
Right.
bit about your entry level people coming in to be like the market for that, it will be lower because people can do quicker stuff on their
Hmm.
own. So I think being a creative guide, it will be huge. Helping the taste side of things is a huge part of making sure, like, can you make sure something's good, because sometimes that
Hmm.
eye is something that we take for granted. If you feel like you've got a decent eye, and sometimes that's value, that is value, but your taste and what you build over time for your career is something that I think will be important. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's going to keep coming, keep evolving. I think you have to have an eye on it and just figure out how to integrate it in as tool sets to help you keep doing the work that you want to do, and just yeah, use it.
Right.
Not be scared of it, but at the same time, I'm like I keep it at a distance, but I'm also like it's like someone that you don't fully trust, but you like it, but don't fully trust it. It's like that. It's like it's there, and we're definitely not ignoring it, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely hoping that the responsible use of it will be something embraced.
Right. Yeah, same here, same thing. I mean, obviously it's like computers in the 90s and then internet, and then the iPhone coming out, the smartphone coming out late 90s and stuff like that. So like it's there. You
Yeah,
have to
it's a
be
tool. Yeah,
you have to know about it, be aware of it, security wise
they're
too,
impressive though.
what's safe.
It's like
Yeah.
anything. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like anything of just keeping your eye on tools out there because most of them are dumb or like you can't. They're not the top ones. I mean, obviously the key
Right.
ones are getting bigger. They're just racing to be like who's can be the best on it or who can offer the
Mhm.
most on it. But I'm talking about all the spin-offs or all the like everything's like here's your magic wand, death to creatives, all that. I'm just like that's not necessarily going to be the case. I mean, yes, there will
Mhm.
be a lot of disruption that is part of it. That's fine, but I just think it's an evolving thing. I find it fascinating. As I said, it's like technology has been something that fascinates me, and I see it as a tool. I see it as going to be similar to how Photoshop was what everybody used to do everything back when I first started. Like now, between Sketch and now Figma, and now like what's
Yeah.
next? Like there's something else. Like I think that's going to happen, and AI will be a big part of that. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be it's just going to shift. And I think right now it's
Mhm.
hard for anyone to
Yeah.
imagine. I mean, think about what we're doing now to even talk about what's happening now 15 years ago or 20 years ago. Like you'd be like, what? Like you can't. So I mean, think
Right.
about 15, 20 years from right now. Like
Yeah.
we can't even put our brains into what that's going to be. And so I think that's what's going to happen is like things will shift and things will happen. I don't
Mhm.
think it's going to be just a sudden gauntlet other than the ones who are not embracing it. Like I don't think you have to be all
Right.
in, like I said, and be like, I do everything with AI, but you see people going crazy, and I'm like, okay, calm down, like on social, of course, because they're all chasing likes. It's like they just want to be the
Yeah.
first one to post it and be like, look at me getting likes and all that. And it's like, and then I see everyone sharing the Ghibli, sharing the thing. I'm just like, hey, can we just chill out with all this? Like,
Yeah.
it's the psychological side of just wanting to
The
feel like
bandwagon.
what's my like profile, like let me just see me as it's kind I get that it's attractive to see that, but at the same time I don't think it's like just driving it even more of
Yeah.
like look how easy it is to do this. And I feel bad for that studio to have their whole
Right?
style just, I mean,
I think
good
there's
and
a
bad. I mean, they're
lawsuit
getting
pending because
major.
of it.
I would think so, but I mean
The
at
the
least
artist.
a lot of people have never even heard of them to who they are now, which is good. But the downside is just like it's just that's they took years to kind of develop that style. It definitely has what's
It's
that say
true.
about their branding? To be like you see it, you know exactly what that is, or whatever. That's valuable. So it is. It's just weird times. It's just it's going to be ever evolving. I think for a
Yeah.
lot longer. Yeah.
I think there's definitely I mean, it really helped to attend that, see, I can't even remember the title, but it was definitely on AI, and he was one of the former GTM, team members for OpenAI and at Power Forward Series, First Commerce Credit Union's event, and he talked about, like, the soft skill set, like, there's no way that AI can replace soft skills, um, and then also, I think there's something to the imagination of the person who might be prompting, uh, whatever it is that's happening in their minds. So, like, the creative is highly valuable
Sure. Yeah, and
versus,
I think too that just in my time, a lot of times what we do is we help clients. Like there's a different shift in like if it's your a product versus like client work, like a product or something that you're trying to create, like a startup. AI is enormous because I mean it's bound. Your opportunity is just boundless right now to be able to do whatever you want to do to get something done. A lot of barriers that were there, AI is kind of taking down, which I think is huge. With client work it's similar, but it's a little different in that clients a lot of times they're busy or they just need help, and so they're just going to come in. That's never going to change. Like
no.
they're not going to understand. They're going to be
Mm-mm.
coming to you because you're an expert, or they're going to come to you because they know of you in some way and they want you to help them. And so that won't change. So but how you help them is going to change. So AI will be a huge part of that. So to me that's kind of the shift that's going to happen, is that the tools that you use to do it will be there, but at the same time the value that you're going to provide is still going to be in your services that you're doing for them, and how are you taking care of people, and what you're how they come away and tell other people that you help them, or whatever that is. I just think, to me, that's the difference of the two on it. But the tools that you can do now is just crazy. Like, of what the things that you can at least help you with the stuff. I laugh at the people being like, "Where's AI to help me do my taxes? Where's my AI that can help me, do my laundry?" Like, I want that more than I want, like, here's my Muppet profile. I'm hoping that we start leaning that way. Like, it's pretty common that the first part of technology is all the, like, silly, like, I remember the old iPhone apps. It was like a beer where you could hold your phone up like you were drinking a beer, like, most ridiculous app ever. But it's like, that was because it was the new technology, so it was fun to do the little silly, so. And then you
Mhm.
evolved into the, like, bigger. So I'm hoping that's, that will be part of things too. Like, eventually we'll get a lot better. And again, stuff we can't even think of yet. So yes, I
Yeah.
find it exciting. It's terrifying and exciting at the same time.
Yeah. And it does remove a lot of, like you were saying, removes a lot of barriers to entry for those who might want to ideate or experiment with things. But you still need experts. You still need, I would say,
Yeah.
consultants that have had a lot of experience with different industries, and even just creating a product. So, I know we have a few minutes left. This is going by so quick. Just want to make sure we catch these things before we wrap up, and then
Yes.
respect your time, obviously. I also, speaking of ideation and testing ideas, like Domi is a great place to do that. And people might have a concept that people who come through Domi, and I want to pull up their website too, that Domi takes equity for any companies that go through incubation program here, or and I'm here at Domi, that's why I said here, but yeah, there is no equity. Like, you just come through, start and grow your business, and you keep all your money. There is no acceleration fund. There's no investment from Domi per se. People just put in their own money, test their skin in the game, kind of thing. You have to have some skin in the game to learn how to start and grow a business. And people make some great companies that come through here, but it's a small percentage that will
Yeah.
succeed, and it's okay. Maybe the first idea doesn't work, then the second idea maybe will work.
It's the
So
supporting community.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the part
exactly.
that's scary, and that's supposed to be. Otherwise, everybody do it. So that's part of, like, I think having the support and community and people who can help guide you, I think is the important part. So I'm glad that people embrace that and take advantage of it, because it's great. It's a great thing to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that kind of like what helped you? I think, like you were saying, you met some great people there. You were able to find someone like Connor. You and I met really through mutual friends through
Mhm.
Domi. I mean, if I were to just go through like the anthropology study of where I met everybody, everything leads back to Domi. So that's why I'm kind of a big cheerleader for Domi. There's no way I would
Yeah.
have started without it, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things that's coming up is Domi Awards, and that's why I keep looking over at my other screen. I want to make sure we include that. And Eric, you're going to
Yeah.
be there, right?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so for those of you who haven't heard yet, it's the 4th annual Domi Awards, and it's a fun event. It's celebrating entrepreneurship, and then really the community nominated these businesses, and we're going to have a keynote address by Princess Osley, who grew her business called, and I think there was another business she grew in. Now she has another one called Founder of it's called Elite Business Strategies. So I'm excited to hear her story, and we got a bunch of names here. Here are the past nominees that won awards as well. And thank you to the sponsors. Give you a shout out: Oliver Sperry, OEB, SBDC at FAMU, and TSC and JMI. So we still are looking for anyone who's interested in being a part of the event. Would love to include you, and the promotion and sponsorships are ongoing throughout the year. Is there anything you'd like to end with, as far as maybe a word of advice?
Just I would say, just be positive and treat people well. That's the main main thing on it is in this day and age, it's crazy times, both all over the place, and I think just doing the best to stay positive and do the best work you can, and that's it. That's pretty much all I try to strive to is just is try to abide by that, and sometimes easier said than done sometimes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. I really appreciate you taking the time to tell us about a little bit of your story and also being able to serve with you on the board at Domi. So I'd like to say it's the little engine that could.
Yeah, it's exciting. I can't wait. Domi in the future. Domi is going to be. It's fun. It's going to be exciting to grow it into the next phase.
Seriously, here's to another 10, 11 years, right?
Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much, Eric. And guys, if you caught this episode, we'd love for you to like and share this, comment on it. We would love to hear from you if you want to be featured on City Clips. So hang on for a second, Eric. I'll see you on the other side, and
okay.
See you guys later. Bye.